What's up, everybody? Mr. Dude here, and welcome to another episode of X-Plane 11. We are here in Colorado Springs, and I had a couple inquiries about the last video that they wanted me to look into possibly doing a comparison and showing you a visual comparison straight up. So I went ahead and left this the scenery as far as the map, if you will, not the autogen stuff on top, but just the actual scenery. I left it in the stock scenery. I still have the W2XP running, so you'll see some buildings intermittently. And so this is what the mountains and stuff are, everything is default. So all your grass textures and stuff like that. So the textures are all default. I think that was the term I was going for earlier. So no photo real scenery, just textures. Now sometimes what you'll run into is you do have some autogen mixed in here. All right. So like in between. Okay. So so the long building towards the bottom of the screen is W2XP, and then you've got some autogen scenery kind of mixed in there as well. Sometimes though they disagree as to what goes in there, right? So the autogen's like, yeah, there should be houses, and W2XP is like, no, there should be a big building, or there should be something else there. So if you're using stock stuff underneath, maybe it doesn't have the latest OSM data. I'm not sure as to why it's doing that, but then like here it agrees. So you got some autogen scenery here, which is really, really high quality autogen scenery. Like, look at these models, they're beautiful. And then you've got some of the W2XP stuff there, which looks pretty good, but it's not as good looking, if you will, as the autogen, but it does do a really good job of filling in the blanks, and it gives it more of the appearance of what it actually looks like. So that is basically what that looks like there. So yeah, not terrible looking scenery, especially you throw in the W2XP and it gives it the general appearance. Without the W2XP in there, though, I'm telling you right now, it kind of looks like a forest with a few houses in it, even at max. And I'm not necessarily sure why, but that's what it looks like. So, anyways, this is the part of the video where I spam you for a like. If you like the video, please continue to hit that like button. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. I'm doing it earlier on in the video in the event that you guys don't watch later, but hopefully you guys stick around and see what this looks like, because I think you guys, I'm not sure, I don't know, I haven't done the comparison here on this scenery specifically, but I'm guessing we're gonna like what we see. And if we do, then we're gonna take a quick flight over to Pike's Peak and fly around, and I might bring you guys back, I might not. It just really depends on the length of the video. So enough talking from me, and let me get things set up and we'll bring you back. Alright, and welcome back, folks, to Colorado Springs. So this is the Ortho 4XP textures, terrain. It's basically Ortho photos installed. So there's a golf course right by the airport that's depicted here. You don't have as many scenery clashes, actually. Some of the terrain meshes, like there must be a hill or something right there, so it's like, yeah, there's a slight elevation change. That looks kind of funny. Now the other thing I did too is I did the area around the airport at zoom level 17, and then I did everything else at zoom level 16. So, and the reason, and I could probably do a wider berth of the area, and I will do a mini tutorial to add on to my Ortho 4XP tutorial as a whole on how to do smaller areas and get them to take well, how to do, you do the big tile in a lower zoom level, and then you could do a custom zoom level on certain areas in the tile that are near airports or areas you plan to fly a bit closer to the ground. So this stuff is zoom level 17 here, and then the stuff over on this side is zoom level 16. So you're still getting photoreal scenery, but you do end up with like these color differences and whatnot kind of coming into play. But I mean, overall, it doesn't really distract me. And the mountains are just absolutely gorgeous. Just, yeah, that is just beautiful. Now, on average, a 16, because I did get this question, a zoom level 16 tile, 2 to 3 gigs is kind of what it is. And then zoom level 17, it was like 8-10 gigs. I know like zoom level 18 or 19, it was ridiculous. You're like talking 20 gigs. So unless you're not gonna fly but one route, and one route only, and I suppose you could do zoom level 19 right around the airport, but what I don't recommend that, because if you have a really big clash between, like, say, zoom level 15 or 16 out here, and then you're going to do this in zoom level 19, this will look really good. But the other thing this does too is it minimizes the hit on frames, which if you're flying a plane, you don't want it to be a major hit on frames. But this is good enough, and it looks, I feel like it looks tons better, versus the previous. I think it's a good improvement. So yeah, I kind of did a square chunk around the airport, and that's kind of how that turned out. And the other thing is you can't control your imagery source, whatever pictures it took and pulled from. So BI, for example, if it you may not always get super fantastic pictures. Somebody had remarked on one of my previous Ortho 4XP videos that they were like, "Hey, it's snowing in Puerto Rico." I'm like, "Yeah, those are clouds." So clouds got trapped in the imagery, and that's what they put on. That's it. You're getting, you're getting satellite imagery with maps on it. But this isn't too bad. And then, it kind of meshes up somewhat. W2XP did put it, or I think that's airport scenery. I'm not sure actually, but the parking lot's generally lined up, and everything's fairly well lined up. So honestly, I don't think it's. I think it looks really good. And maybe I'm just being a fanboy. I don't know, but I think it looks really good, and I think we're gonna take a flight. So let's go ahead and hop into the plane. We've got the little baby jet with us today, so that's what we're gonna take. I think we're all set up, so let's move that up a little bit and let's get out of here. Well, everybody, that was a flight around Colorado Springs, basically out to Pikes Peak and back. That was fairly entertaining. I thought the scenery looked pretty good, and zoom level 16, while it's not necessarily the oh, that's funny. The terrain says, hey, the runway does funny stuff right here. That's kind of hilarious. So while, oh, excuse me, sir, will not follow proper procedure. Any hoozles. So while zoom level 16 isn't necessarily the most graphically crisp imagery you're gonna get, I think it's gonna be good enough for most of what you're going to need it for. And there might be some very specific areas where we're at the Air Force Base, I think. Not sure. I thought this was our airfield. I think our airfield is actually over there, which is fine. I don't care. I just found a runway and landed. But anyways, so yeah, I think honestly, at 2-3 gigs a tile, you can get, most of the areas you're generally gonna fly around. Is it advisable to do Ortho 4XP around the world? If you've got the storage space, go do it. Go ahead and tile up the whole planet, and you've got it. But it will take a lot of memory. So I would suggest tile up the areas where you're going to be flying around most often, and then I will produce a video follow on to my Ortho 4XP tutorial, and I'll title it "Things I Found Out About Ortho 4XP," and that'll kind of give you some of the ins and outs of doing some different things with customizing your zoom levels. So like I said, I want to thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of X-Plane 11, and we are going to catch you next time.